people are going to say that you won't be able to stop it. It's got too much momentum, and the best thing that you can do is try and minimise the impacts that it's going to have on your local community. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm not one of those people is because I believe that it is enormously important that communities like ours do not stand back and let the state government, or portions of the state government, spend $15 billion or however many it's going to be by the end of all of this that they're proposing, that they don't spend $15 billion on a motorway that they have not presented any business case for, that they've not provided any details on that enable people to make informed decisions, including professional transport planners like myself, informed decisions about what exactly those impacts are going to be. We can guess at them, and those guesses will be pretty good, but we don't know precisely because we're not being told. I don't believe that that is acceptable government. I don't believe that it is okay to spend $15 billion worth of taxpayers' money on a motorway, or any piece of infrastructure for that matter, that you cannot justify, and therefore you cannot and will not provide a business case for.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people like myself who, are transport professionals, when we go off to our cheese and twiglets do's, as we often do, and we sit around having a little chat with one another, I've come across other fellow professionals who are more familiar with the details of what is going on than what I am. And a lot of them are now saying, we're a bit shocked. We're a bit shocked that key decision makers are not actually listening to the advice that is coming from professionals that are working on these projects. Now that's really serious. That's really serious. So even if you are in favour of a bit of motorway development, which I am not, but even if you are in favour of that, and you have spent a lifetime working on networks, and you understand what sorts of things need to be done in order to minimise the very adverse impacts that can arise if you carry on like cowboys, and cowboys is a word that is being used by a lot of people at the moment, even if you do that, then there's a lot of disquiet within the camp that is looking at this proposal in detail. And that's another reason why nobody is being given these details, because when sane and rational people who are still capable of using the sense they were born with, when they go and look at these proposals, it really doesn't make sense. Now, the other point too, of course, is that when you go and spend $15 billion of public money, or however much it's going to be, on a motorway, that's $15 billion worth of public money, or your poles and wires, or wherever it is that the money is coming from, that is not being spent on public transport. And the problem with not spending money on public transport is that that is the one key way that you have of actually improving road network speeds. Now, the reason why is because when people like us are making decisions about what trips or what mode we're going to take, we will go for whichever mode is quickest. And public transport operates to a fixed speed, whereas road networks operate to a variable speed, depending on how many people join that network. Now, if you make a decision about which mode you're going to use, and the public transport network has been run down, it hasn't been invested in, because by geez, we could do a lot in public transport with $15 billion worth of public funds. If that's not happening, then your road, ironically, your road network is deteriorating, or the level of service of that road network, it also deteriorates. So there's a lot to fight for here. And it's not just this local area and the local precincts, which are enormously important, but it's also the wider operability of our network here in Sydney that people like yourselves are fighting for, whether you know it or not. And so don't give up. Don't make the mistake of thinking that, oh, we've just got to focus on stacks and trying to get them filtered correctly, because that's not the way. Keep up the fight and make sure we stop this thing. Thanks.